Arkadaşlar, bugünkü misafirimiz aslında geçen sene başlattığımız Arasya konuşmalar diye bir etkinliğimiz vardı. Şu anda uluslararası ilişkilere doğru kayıyordum. Bugünkü konuşmayı Uluslararası Araştırmaları Merkezi'nden, Muhamma'yla Sudheendra Kulkarni yapacak. Biraz sonra özgeçmişini dinleyeceğiz. Kendisi geçen dönemlerdeki Hindistan, bundan önceki hükümetin Hindistan Başbakanı danışmanlığı yapan önemli Hindistan Gazetesi'nden olan biri. Kendisi Gandhi ile ilgili kitap yazdı. Onunla ilgili soru olacak. Sunum sonrasında soru cevaplardan alabiliriz. Öncelikle özgeçmişini alalım. Ondan sonra çok konuşmayı kapımıza bakacağız.
Değerli misafirler ve değerli akademisyenler, İstanbul Üniversitesi Avrasya Enstitüsü'ne hoş geldiniz. Şu anda Hintli yazar ve politikacı Sudheendra Kulkarni'yi ağırlıyoruz. Kendisi Jatavji Anandji yani lisesinden mezun olmuş ve daha sonra Indian Institute of Technology Bombay'da görevde bulunmuştur. Aynı zamanda bir önceki başbakan, Hindistan Başbakanı Atal Bihari Vajpayee'nin bizzat danışmanlığını yapmıştır. Şu anda Observer Research Foundation adlı kurumunda başkanlığını yapmaktadır kendisi. Bize kendi kitabı Observer Research Foundation'ın içerisinde yer alan Music of the Spinning Wheel, Mahatma Gandhi's Manifesto for the Internet Age adlı kitabı ile ilgili konuşmasını yapacaktır.
Respected Professor Kulkarni, my dear friend Mulen Asikos, and another very dear friend, Mr. Farhan Martier, and distinguished faculty of the Department of Eurasian Studies in Istanbul University, students, friends. How can I thank you, Professor? Because I really didn't know that I would have the honor and the opportunity of being in your midst until day before yesterday. I had come here at the invitation to interact with members of Pasiad, which both Mr. Martier and Roland represent, and they were so kind. They immediately contacted you, and you so promptly responded positively. And at such short notice, you have arranged this. I am both overwhelmed and I am immensely grateful. This is my last engagement in Istanbul. From here, I go straight to the airport to go back home. And I go with very pleasant memories of my first visit to your beautiful historic country, Turkey. If there is English, you can briefly translate this.
Tercümeye gerek olacak mı konuşma boyunca? Yoksa devam edeceğiz.
Okay, good.
Yes. Yes, please go ahead.
You know, This is a historic university, I'm told 500 years old, and your own building is 300 years old. So it's as if your university defies time. And that is how universities should be, because knowledge never ages. It never becomes old. And this department, which focuses on Eurasian studies, I would like to begin with a certain reflection, friends. Eurasia, there is no country in the world, and there is no city in the world that represents the relationship between Europe and Asia than Turkey and than your historic city, Istanbul. This is where both geographically, culturally, historically, Europe and Asia meet. But there is one difference. Eurasia of the past and Eurasia of today, there is one big difference. The 18th and the 19th and the 20th centuries belong to Europe. The 21st century will belong to Asia. And the 21st century will belong to countries in Asia, beginning with Turkey, and of course India and China, the great Asian community. So it gives me great pleasure to be in a university that is devoted to having a conversation with Europe on an equal footing. There was no equal footing in the past. Today we talk to Europe as equals with self-confidence. And Europe and the rest of the world recognizes that Asia is on the rise, Turkey is on the rise, India is on the rise. Friends, the subject of my interaction with you today is a book that I have written. It is Music of the Spinning Wheel. Mahatma Gandhi's Manifesto for the Internet Age. Mahatma Gandhi was, of course, a leader of India's national liberation struggle, but he was much more than that. He was a global citizen. He did not belong only to India. In fact, as you will very shortly see, he says that I am a servant. I am not a servant of India. I am a servant of truth. And if at any time India's interests clash with interests of truth, then I will side with truth and not with India. But when he says interest of truth, means interest of the whole world, the whole humanity. So Gandhi belonged to humanity, not only to India. Which is why recently the United Nations in 2005 declared Gandhi's birthday, 2nd October, as Day of Non-Violence, to be observed all over the world as Day of Non-Violence. Friends, I must at this point in time also share with you that Gandhi was a great friend of Turkey, and Gandhi was deeply sympathetic to Islam. I am saying this because some of you perhaps may not know. After World War I, in 1919, 1918 onwards, there was a big movement in India of Indian Muslims who were concerned about the breakup of the Ottoman Empire and the victory of Britain and the Allied forces, and their decision to abolish Caliph's rule, because Caliph then had also control of the holy places of Mecca and Medina. So Indian Muslims were very concerned, and they started a movement called Khilafat movement. And Gandhi, who had just returned from South Africa, where he had spent 20 years of his life, he came back and he plunged into India's national liberation movement. And he decided that India can succeed in its national liberation movement only if Hindus and Muslims come together. And therefore, whatever concerns Muslims should also concern Hindus. And because at that time, Muslims were concerned and angry and agitated about what was happening in Turkey, and they had started this movement called the Khilafat movement, Gandhi supported it. Gandhi supported Turkey. He says that justice is on the side of Turkey. And he said that Allied forces must vacate Istanbul because between 1919 and 1923, Britain and Allied forces had occupied this great city. So he wrote that Allied forces must vacate Istanbul. I'm saying this because Gandhi was an internationalist. He was leading India's national liberation struggle, but his approach to even India's national liberation struggle was very different from other struggles, because he said that the people of Britain are our friends. We are opposed to British Empire, but we are not opposed to the people of Britain. Because the people of Britain, the people of all countries, they are brothers and sisters. So wherever he saw injustice, wherever he saw wrong, he raised his voice. And at that time, Turkey was a victim of injustice. Turkey was a victim of aggression. He supported Turkey. I would like to mention to you, friends, that several Turkish intellectuals of those days were influenced by Gandhi. And one of them was your great novelist and your great national leader, Halide Edip Adivar. So Gandhi invited her to come to India in 1935 and give lectures on East and West. And she gave several lectures at a famous university in New Delhi. It is called Jamia Millia Islamia. And Gandhi chaired one of her lectures in the university. In fact, she has subsequently written a book called Inside India. I was very happy, therefore, to know more about her when I came to Turkey. I'm saying this because we should get to know each other better. My friend Bulent told me, and I entirely agree with him, that in history there has been a lot of interaction between Turkey and India. You know, many words in our language, they come from Turkey. They are Turkish words. Yet today, contemporary India and contemporary Turkey, we don't know each other adequately. We don't know each other too well. The extent of cooperation between India and Turkey is still limited. Economic cooperation, academic cooperation, cooperation in other fields. And I hope that both countries should make efforts to expand cooperation, and my coming here is a very small step in this interaction. Friends, I mentioned to you about Khilafat movement. There was one important thing that I should bring to your attention. When Gandhi supported Indian Muslims, already a very famous figure then. Many Muslims were touched. And they came to Gandhi and said that you, a Hindu leader, you have supported us. Therefore, we should also reciprocate by supporting some of your demands, the Hindu demands. And there was one Hindu demand, and that is cow protection. You know, for Hindus, cow is a holy animal. We call it mother cow. So protection of the cow is something important for Hindus. So they said, you are supporting Khilafat movement, we want to support your demand for cow protection. Gandhi wrote to them, that letter is there. He said, we, and I in particular, supporting Khilafat movement because we believe in justice, because it is a just demand. We don't want anything in return. This is not some kind of a give and take. In matters of justice, there is no give and take. This is unconditional support. You are in pain and we feel your pain. These are Gandhi's words. Friends, when people think of Gandhi, they have respect for him because he is seen as a messenger of peace and non-violence. Yet, they somehow have this understanding that he was opposed to science, opposed to technology, opposed to modernity. And partly this understanding or rather misunderstanding about Gandhi is because of his appearance. You know, he was a very simple person. He lived a simple life. In fact, so simple that he even made his own cloth. The cloth that he wore, it's called khadi in India. That was made by himself on a spinning wheel. So the picture that many of you see, which is most famous, is Gandhi with the spinning wheel. Why did he choose the spinning wheel? There were several reasons. He wanted the spinning wheel to be a symbol of protest against British. Because the British, with their industrialization, they had de-industrialized India. So it was a symbol of self-reliance. But it also had a cultural message. The cultural message was, he wanted to show that I identify myself fully, entirely with the poor people of India. If I am demanding freedom for India, that freedom should also mean freedom for the poor people of India. And the majority of Indians at that time were poor. So, by giving up all his traditional dress and starting spinning and wearing his own cloth, he wanted to establish himself as one with the poor. And he appealed to the rich also to wear khadi, that cloth, so that the rich also can identify themselves with the poor. But apart from this, friends, there was also a moral message he was trying to give. And that moral message was that we should use technology, machinery, and he called even the spinning wheel a machine. The machine should bring the people together. The machine and man, the distinction between man and machine should go. Today, machine is ruling man. Rather, man should rule the machine. So, I started studying and researching his thoughts on science and technology, and I came to the conclusion that he was a very far-sighted man. He was not opposed to science and technology, but he was opposed to the use or the misuse of science and technology. And my research, friends, also showed something else, and that is that the philosophy of the spinning wheel and the potential of the internet, there is a correlation. The spinning wheel and the internet, you know, some of you might wonder what kind of relationship there can be between the spinning wheel, which is the most primitive end of the technological spectrum, and the internet, which is most high-tech, most advanced. Can there be any relationship? I have tried to tell in my book that there is a correlation. So, before I proceed, friends, may I request you to watch a short film. It's only 6 minutes that gives a glimpse of what my book is trying to convey.
Peaceful and beautiful new world is being born. A world that Mahatma Gandhi had envisioned. A vision that will be realized by a just, peaceful and beautiful new world is being born. A world that Mahatma Gandhi had envisioned. A vision that will be realized by the internet and our powerless spinning wheel.
My book is an attempt to understand Gandhi with a 360-degree perspective. Every aspect of Gandhi. Gandhi was a man of religion. Gandhi was a man of social reform. Gandhi was a politician, of course, although he spent very little time on politics. He was a very unique leader. He was leading India's freedom struggle against the mightiest empire. But for him, politics was secondary. Far more important were his other concerns, and that is harmony between different religions, reform of Hindu society, in which, as you perhaps know, one category of people were considered very low, in fact untouchable. So he led a major campaign against untouchability. Similarly, he paid a lot of attention to women's empowerment, to raise the standard and the level, the status of women in society, and which is why you might have seen one slide in my film where my book says that according to Gandhi, the law of human evolution in future will change. Until now, it is Darwin's law of survival of the fittest. But in future, he says the future belongs to women. Because women, they embody, they personify kindness, compassion, love, care, much more than men. They are far more non-violent than men. Therefore, he says the law of the future evolution of humanity is represented by women. And therefore, against Darwin's law of survival of the fittest, he says it will be survival of the kindest. The kindest meaning women. Gandhi was also far-sighted.